The FBI's Crossfire hurricane team investigating the Trump 2016 campaign received multiple indications that former British spy Christopher Steele, one of their key informants in their investigation, was part of an elaborate Russian disinformation campaign, according to several newly declassified footnotes from Department of Justice Inspector General Michael Horowitz's report on FBI misconduct.
It's ironic that the Russian collusion narrative was fatally flawed because of Russian disinformation, sends. Chuck Grassley, R. Iowa, and Ron Johnson, R. Wis, who had pushed for the declassification, said in a statement to Fox News on Friday. These footnotes confirm that there was a direct Russian disinformation campaign in 2016, and there were ties between Russian intelligence and a presidential campaign, the Clinton campaign, not Trump's.
At the same time, Grassley's office added that the senators expect a fuller declassification in the coming days, including a version of the footnotes that does not redact the names of those who raised the alarm about Steele.
One of the footnotes, which was previously redacted in its entirety, read, "The redacted," stated that it did not have high confidence in this subset of Steele's reporting and assessed that the referenced subset was part of a Russian disinformation campaign to denigrate U.S. foreign relations. That subset referred to the activities of former Trump lawyer Michael Cohen, whom Steele's dossier claimed had traveled to Prague to meet with Russian agents. Special counsel Robert Mueller was unable to substantiate that claim, and Cohen has denied it.
The footnote goes on to state that a 2017 report contained information that the public reporting about the details of Trump's redacted activities in Moscow during a trip in 2013 were false, and that they were the product of RIS Infiltra, a source into the network of a redacted who compiled a dossier of information on Trump's activities.
Another footnote stated, according to a document circulated among Crossfire hurricane team members and supervisors in early October 2016, Person 1, Sergei Milian, had historical contact with persons and entities suspected of being linked to RIS, Russian intelligence. The document described reporting, redacted, that Person 1 was rumored to be a former KGB, SVR officer. In addition, in late December 2016, Department Attorney Bruce Orr told SSA-1 FBI agent Joe Pietenka that he had met with Glenn Simpson and that Simpson had assessed that Person 1 was a RIS officer who was central in connecting Trump to Russia.
WHO is mystery FBI agent Joe Pietenka, key player in Page FISA.
Pietenka was conspicuously removed from the FBI's website after Fox News contacted the FBI about his extensive role in Crossfire hurricane FISA matters, but sources say he remains in the agency's field office in San Francisco in a senior role. Republicans have sought to question him repeatedly.
The redactions also gave other reasons to doubt the knowledge and credibility of Steele's main sources, as well as the accuracy of Horowitz's own report.
When interviewed by the FBI, the primary sub-source stated that she did not view her contacts as a network of sources, redacted, with whom she has conversations about current events and government relations. One of the previously hidden footnotes reads, That statement directly contradicted the executive summary of Horowitz's IG report, which asserted that Steele's primary sub-source used her network of sub-sources to gather information that was then passed to Steele. In a letter to Barr in January seeking the full declassification of 4 footnotes in Horowitz's report, Grassley and Johnson had written, "We are concerned that certain sections of the public version of the IG report are misleading because they are contradicted by relevant and probative classified information redacted in 4 footnotes within the classified report." Friday's partial declassification, which suggested Steele's sources were part of a Russian interference effort, was immediately highlighted by Trump allies and Republicans, who have long pushed the administration to publicize more details of the FBI's flawed investigation, even as U.S. Attorney John Durham is pursuing a criminal probe into the conduct of U.S. intelligence agencies. The FBI heavily relied on Steele's now discredited dossier to obtain a surveillance warrant to spy on former Donald Trump aide Carter Page, in which FBI officials asserted that Page was an agent of Russia. However, the FBI did not share the information about the Russian disinformation campaign with the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court (FISC) when it moved to obtain the warrant, just as it did not tell the court that another Trump aide had denied collusion during a recorded conversation with an FBI informant.
The FBI's legal counsel later described the warrant to surveil Page as essentially a single-source FISA, wholly dependent on the dossier, which also made numerous other unsubstantiated claims about Russian hackers in a non-existent consulate in Miami, Cohen's purported trips to Prague, and lurid blackmail tapes.
At the same time, Friday's partial declassification of the footnotes didn't fully comply with previous requests to the DOJ from Grassley and Johnson, whose letter to Barr sought the full and complete declassification of the 4 footnotes in the IG report in January.
Grassley and Johnson wanted the DOJ to declassify footnotes 302, 334, 342 and 350, all were only partially unredacted, and 342 remains fully redacted.
That central and essential evidence used to justify invasive surveillance of an American citizen in the FBI's probe into Russian interference was, itself, an example of Russian interference, according to once secret footnotes declassified at the urging of 2 U.S. senators, Grassley's office said in a statement to Fox News on Friday.
FBI systematically ignored key FISA rules, contradicting media, Dems.
For years, the public was fed a healthy diet of leaks, innuendo and false information to imply that President Trump and his campaign were part of a Russian conspiracy to spread disinformation, Grassley and Johnson said separately. The FBI's blind pursuit of the investigation, despite exculpatory and contradictory information, only legitimized the narrative. The mounting evidence undercutting this narrative should have stopped the investigation early in its tracks. Instead, it took several years and millions in taxpayer dollars to conclude that the allegations were baseless.
The senators continued, had FBI leadership heeded the numerous warnings of Russian disinformation, paid attention to the glaring contradictions in the pool of evidence and followed long-standing procedures to ensure accuracy, everyone would have been better off. Carter Page's civil liberties wouldn't have been shredded, taxpayer dollars wouldn't have been wasted, the country wouldn't be as divided and the FBI's reputation wouldn't be in shambles.
The Justice Department IG, Michael Horowitz, has found that the FBI systematically violated rules designed to protect Americans from unauthorized surveillance, including Page, prompting the FISC to rebuke the FBI and demand changes.
Why have all these details remained unnecessarily secret for so long? Page asked Fox News on Friday. In our dual system of justice, the Mueller witch hunt crew falsely misrepresented my own historical contact with persons and entities suspected of being linked to RIS, when I was actually serving my country in support of the U.S. intelligence community. The time has finally come for the Office of the Director of National Intelligence and related agencies to release the full facts about the Obama-Biden administration's election interference campaign against candidate Trump and the illicit coup attempt against our president.
Trump aide denied collusion to FBI informant, but FBI didn't tell secret court. Transcript.
In Page's case, an ex-FBI lawyer, Kevin Kleinsmith, even falsified an email from the CIA to make Page's Russian contacts seem nefarious, when Page in fact had been an informant to the CIA about those contacts, according to Horowitz. It emerged separately on Thursday that an FBI confidential human source secretly recorded George Papadopoulos in the final days of the 2016 presidential election and pressed him over whether the Trump campaign was involved in Russian election meddling, something the campaign aide emphatically denied, according to a transcript of that conversation. Fox News obtained the transcript of the recording, which spreads over 171 pages. Papadopoulos, a former Trump campaign foreign policy advisor, is referred to in the transcript as Crossfire Typhoon or Court. The recording covers a more than 4-hour conversation on October 31, 2016. According to the obtained transcripts, the confidential human source CHS met with Papadopoulos and asked whether he thought Russians hacked the Democratic National Committee (DNC) ahead of the Democratic National Convention. No, Papadopoulos replied. DOJ's Russia probe review focusing on smoking gun tapes of meeting with Trump aide, sources. The comments made by Papadopoulos are noteworthy because, according to officials, they were never provided or included in evidence to the FISC when seeking warrants to surveil Page over suspicion of Trump campaign ties to Russia. When asked whether he thought the Russians had special interests in the election, Papadopoulos replied, "That's all bullsh."
No one knows who's hacking them, and added that it could be the Chinese, could be the Iranians, it could be some Bernie supporters. Could be anonymous.
Papadopoulos was then asked whether he thought Russians have interest in Trump.
Dude, no one knows how a president's going to govern anyway. You don't just say, oh he said before being cut off. I don't know. Even Putin said it himself. It's like conspiracy theories.
The source went on to press Papadopoulos, saying, I feel like there's some heavy Trump supporters out there that kind of want to rig this King election in Trump's favor, and then at the same time, I don't know.
Papadopoulos quipped, dude, there is no rigging in his favor.
Durham's criminal probe concerning the FBI's Russia probe remains ongoing. Speaking to Fox News, the Ingram angle, on Thursday, Barr said he has seen troubling signs from the investigation.
My own view is that the evidence shows that we're not dealing with just the mistakes or sloppiness, Barr told host Laura Ingram. There was something far more troubling here. We're going to get to the bottom of it. And if people broke the law and we can establish that with the evidence, they will be prosecuted.
Barr says, far more troubling evidence coming from Durham probe.
It has emerged since former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn's guilty plea that the FBI officials who interviewed Flynn, anti-Trump agent Peter Strzok and SSA Supervisory Special Agent 1, have each separately been implicated by Horowitz in apparent misconduct and mismanagement in both the Flynn case and the Carter Page matter.
Strzok's anti-Trump bias is well documented. The identity of SSA-1 is protected in the Flynn legal proceedings by a court order, but Fox News has reported that documents point to Joe Pientka, who moved last year from the Washington, D.C. area to San Francisco. Pientka briefly appeared on the FBI's website as an assistant special agent in charge of the San Francisco field office late last year, according to the Internet Archive Wayback Machine.
However, Pientka no longer appears on any FBI website after being removed shortly after Fox News identified him as the unnamed SSA in the IG report. Fox News is told Pientka received a promotion to a senior role in the Bureau's San Francisco field office. Pientka's extensive role in handling the Page FISA has been outlined in Horowitz's report, and top Republican senators, including Senator Lindsey Graham, RSC, have requested that Pientka sit for an interview to explain himself.
Fox News' Brooke Singman contributed to this report.